Can you believe we've been working together for 5 years now?
Is it 5?
It's five. It's 5 years. I remember where I was when I first started to like make this transition. So I was on a rooftop. My apartment had like a roof deck, and I'm out on the roof deck. I remember getting a call, and it was, "Hey, we have the opportunity to get involved with a podcast studio, and would you like to do this?" And I was like, "Hell yeah." I'm ready for anything pretty much at this point. I mean, my life was crazy with radio and everything going on. So I saw this, and I remember where I was. So it was just such a distinct thing, and that was 5 years ago. So we've been doing this now, working on podcasts together for 5 years.
It is so weird that the timing was coinciding right with the pandemic. So even, regular life wasn't normal, let alone professional life switching over that point. So the timing is odd, but it is crazy how fast time went with all of that.
And it really defined the business too. I mean, and that's part of what's so interesting about this now being 5 years in and looking back is as COVID comes through with podcasting and just video content and marketing and how all this stuff works, like video became so much more prevalent. And so we saw a major shift in the industry and how that operates, just how people do business has evolved tremendously. And so it's a lot to keep up with. And for us to go through all of those changes while being new to business and figuring out just like things in our lives, I mean, it was completely crazy. And still, it's gotten tamer, but you're always learning new things and going through a lot. So what we're going to do today, we've got 5 different things that we're going to cover from these 5 years that we have been working together, lessons of things related to how to go about doing your work and building relationships with people, managing those relationships, understanding your clients, everything that we've experienced, some of the major things that we've learned. We're going to share that with you because if anything, we hope that we can save you time and aggravation and help you be more successful faster. Like that's really the goal with all of this stuff. I'm a junkie for information. And so like as much as we can share these things, that's what we're here to do today. So welcome into It's Not Just Talking. This is where we help coaches, consultants, people who are the face of their business, power their marketing through podcasting. I'm Vince Quinn, joined by my business partner and engineer of 5 years, Taylor Cradatis. So let's dig into this a little bit. And I'm going to start with two things for me that were particularly strong and important, which is number one, hard work doesn't solve everything. And I say this because I have decided in my life so many times that when I care about something, I'm going to throw myself at the wall. And I'm going to do that with very little regard for my being in any way. I mean, really, like I've overcommitted to helping out friends with different things over the years. I've always overcommitted to different projects that I've wanted to work on. And I did that with my previous job in radio. Like I just said, fuck it. I'm going to do everything that I possibly can to make this work. And so I'm just going to work as hard as I possibly can for as long as I possibly can. And you saw that a little bit, obviously with the studio side, when we first got together, it was running the board and helping clients with things like doing the recordings and talking with them, doing some coaching. And, I burn out a little bit. I think you've seen that quite a bit, Taylor, but, it didn't quite work out the way that I'd hoped.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the work's smarter, not harder thing. But I mean, at the end of the day, you were just trying to make it work. And coming from the radio industry, anybody that hasn't been inside of it, it is a work vehicle that will grind you. So that's kind of what you inherit, that mindset of literally just grinding until you get your opportunity or until what you want actually happens.
And for us, that was, all sorts of stuff. I mean, it was really anything around the business because after a couple of months of being in it and seeing so many things fail, which is, I do want to be clear about that. We saw an insane amount of failure. It is like a miracle that we're here. And as all of that was happening, especially early on, it was really spiraling. I realized that I was completely out of my depth. I mean, I had no idea what I was doing as a business person. I had zero fucking clue. And so I
Which
had to
most
go.
people that is most people, by the way, I feel like, especially since we've seen other people. Not saying that people are inept, but a lot of people have the facade that they have more figured out than they would like to lead on.
And for me, I was shying away from business stuff in a sense early on, and just leaning into podcast content stuff and overworking there because that's where I had the experience. So let me try to overwork on those things. But then when it came to the business side of it, I mean, learning how Excel sheets worked and to trying to have the right formulas to check out how our budget was doing and how much money we were losing, frankly, and what kind of tricks we would have to play to like pay the next bill. And going through all of that stuff, it was tough because everything was a scramble. And so, I mean, for what that energy was like to say, okay, well, I don't have an answer, I don't have information, I don't even know really like what this problem is. So I'm just going to arbitrarily create this idea, spend an insane amount of time trying to bring it to fruition, and I'm just going to hope for the best. And this was like things with the website, or maybe we need to change our website to save like $12 a month. So now I'm going to try all of these other platforms and I'm going to build demo versions of our site on those platforms. Like it was all these just like insane amounts of hours of waste. And I honestly, it's not kind of it's upsetting to look back at like the amount of sheer money and time that I wasted just doing all this random shit, doing it at full tilt, and doing it really with no plan. Like it's crazy to think about.
Well, I mean, the best part is that you can reflect on that and know that that was the old version of you as well. Because there's a scenario where you're still kind of doing those things if the business was still afloat. So you could have been just running in that never ending wheel of just staying in the same spot. So being able to look back on it, it's really something you should be proud of.
I guess I am in the sense that like part of it is and I think there is a charm to it, right? Like when I was doing that kind of work for clients, they liked that. They stayed. Frankly they stayed longer than they should have because we were a mess. But I think the fact that they knew that I was busting my ass trying to make it work for them was a trust builder and something that was beneficial as much as it was a bad model. But I guess that also then goes to this bigger point of like, okay, well, hard work didn't solve all of these problems because our model was bad. It was to the wrong kinds of people. We didn't have any true vision of where the market was going. I mean, like for all the reasons that the business is bad, we had all of them, and working hard didn't solve it. But one of the things that's been helpful over time and something that I'm doing all the time now is just studying problems. And that's number 2 on this list here is just study your problems. Like understand the kinds of things that you're going through and say, okay, what is this issue really? And have some concept of what that is. Is it a marketing issue? Is it a pricing issue? Is it a sales issue in your process? Is it some operational thing? Like, what are you actually dealing with? What is this problem? And go find the information. And like, that's one of the things that I've been appreciative of working with you on, Taylor, especially from that technical end, because we've done so much different shit. We've moved all these locations. We're always upgrading equipment and moving equipment. We've got people with home setups, and we've got home setups now. Like, so many things have changed, and you've been particularly exceptional with just digging stuff up and seeing what's going on and finding a proper solution to go and kill that problem.
I mean, thank you for that. But even with the rate of things improving, like there's different gear, there's different services, like the rate of new things that are coming, like if you're not really keeping up with it, you're going to be left behind because you don't have, the most efficient route of getting your work done because these things are just getting updated all the time. So it's something you really got to keep up with, or you're just going to get lost in the dust, really.
No, I mean, there's definitely something to be said for that. And there's also something for the idea of almost over studying the problem too, because that's where I come in with some of this is I'll find a book that's about a problem that we've got, and I'll read that book. And then when I do that, I realize 50 different things that we don't have right, because I've now read this book and realized my one problem is, is the culmination of all of these different things that have come together. So then it's like, okay, well, am I going to go and try to solve all 50 of these problems? For a long time I did, which kind of goes back to that, like, hard work doesn't solve everything mentality. It doesn't, because then you're trying to perfect this like never ending spiral of things that are connected to your business, rather than just getting a starting point of solving your problem and building on that when it's appropriate. Because that's part of it. Sometimes we build things and then you go, okay, well, this is good, right? Like we'll do something operationally with what our workflow looks like, or we'll do something with the way that we're generating leads, or whatever it might be. And we're like, all right, this is good. We're just going to do this for a while. And now that this is like good enough, let's go figure out some other things. But before we got to that point, it was a lot of like overanalyzing, overstudying. But when you find that balance of, okay, here's a source that I trust, that seems to know their stuff, that has an idea of how this problem works. So now we're going to implement that system into our business, and we're going to do that in a way that makes sense, doesn't cost us a crazy amount of money relative to our budget, and is something that we believe we can execute on the regular. Like, what a relief. Because I feel like that's where a lot of this has been. It's like we have all these meetings and we say, okay, here's some problems that we've got. How are we going to go solve these things? Breaking it down into like a few small tasks that we're each going to do together to balance that workload, and then get it done. And for us to evolve in that way, I mean, I don't know how you've felt about a lot of this kind of problem solving that we've gone through over the years, but I just think there has been a level of like simplicity and balance that we've really started to find, especially I'd say in like the past year, where we've been able to get a lot more done and become a lot more efficient. And what a relief. Like, my stress has gone down significantly, just day to day, like stress, anxiety. I feel so much better because I just feel like our problem solving and the workload that goes into that problem solving has gotten so much better.
I mean, it's kind of like you're walking into a space and like you just see everything surrounding you. And, those surroundings are like all these problems that you have. But really, once you're getting used to it and you're slowly narrowing down the lane, it's like, okay, there's this one path that's going to take us to this next spot, not all these other things that we already know how to handle or aren't even really relevant to where we want to go to next. So, I mean, it's really just figuring it out. Like, as long as you're consistent and you stick with it and, you start learning from all those mistakes, I think that's really it.
I think that overanalysis is just something that stifles you, because you're always, on some level, it's just not a full belief in the answer that you're trying to provide, right? Like, you're looking for other things, or at least this is what I would do, is like I'm looking for other things to feel more confident about the decision. And it just adds all this unnecessary pressure. And it just doesn't need to be that way.
I mean, you don't even know what, that end goal even looks like. So you have to discover like what it even looks like first before you've gotten to that point. So
I mean, there is some self-discovery there, and your goals change and things like that too. So it does, there's always like these evolving layers to it. And sometimes, and I think that's part of why I wanted to do this today, is like the inexperience is going to have you make all sorts of bad decisions, and you just have to live with that and know that that's part of the game. But when you're willing to acknowledge that you will make some bad decisions and just go back to it when it's time, I think it does give you some level of like freedom and peace, because it's an evolving process. So when we come back, we're going to get a little bit into habits. We're going to talk about some things with the right type of client, and that's all next. If you're looking for more ways to grow your business through podcasting, sign up for the SBX newsletter. The link is right here in the show notes, and each week in your inbox, you're going to get tips, opinions, strategies, all the things that we talk about here on the show in your inbox. The SBX newsletter right here in the show notes. Taylor, I'll let you take it for the next lesson here. I mean, what's something that's really stuck out for you?
So I would say, especially from where we started to where we're at now, one of the biggest lessons is the importance of routine. So when we started out, uh, we were all basically running around with almost our heads cut off, like trying to tackle all these different things, not knowing what needed more attention, what didn't. And then once we started slowly figuring things out more, we could build a routine of like, okay, we're dedicating this day to be here and we're going to be tackling these things within the business. We're doing that every Monday. Uh, every Tuesday, we're having this meeting at this time. We're going to be discussing this thing about the business or dealing with this client. So, just having that routine, it just saves extra energy from your brain. Like you're not waking up like, oh, where am I going? What do I need to do? Like what needs to get done? Like you wake up knowing where you got to be, what you have to get done that day, and you have goals for the day. So it's just tackling little things day by day that really build to a bigger picture.
The same way you look at business systems and how you do things within your business and get things done, like the way you manage your day and time is the same. It's the same kind of value. It's all about having systems in place and setting you up for success. So yeah, absolutely, I cannot recommend all of that enough. So with that, after going through importance of routine, what is something else that you've picked up from the last 5 years?
So this might be, well, at least for me, the biggest one, knowing a good client from a bad client. So just understanding who, not even if they have a budget for, your work structure, but just somebody that has a greater idea of what they want to do. It's not something that's just like, oh, I'm thinking about the podcast. It's going to be like this kind of thing. We're going to talk about this. Just like, no, I have this idea for a show. I wanted to accomplish this and I need all these things done. So somebody that really has an idea of what their goals are from a show, not just, walking and it's like, I kind of have this idea for a show. It's like, I mean, yeah, we can kind of help you, but is this going to be a long term thing? Are we going to invest the time that you're going to invest into us? So it's really just understanding the like level of seriousness and, somebody that really wants to take whatever project that they have in mind to the next level.
We've had a lot of bad client experiences in our time. People that we, sold ourselves too low, and that's one of the biggest truisms is like the lower you sell that client, the more time they take, because it's just everything about the relationship is bad. They don't value you inherently in the work that you do. And so when they're getting it on the cheap, you're going to get terrible results. Like it's a terrible place to be. It's really frustrating. And so when you're thinking about that big picture, I mean, yeah, so the best clients that we've had are organized in their business. They have clear things that they're looking to accomplish. We help them support that through the show, and everything works because they're like, all right, we've got the show things and you guys have the knowledge in and out of how these shows operate and how we can like leverage this medium for what we're looking to do. Cool. And then for us, it's such a relief because on the back end with that business, they've got a clear idea of what they do, who they serve, how they sell it, like what that process is. And so it's easy to just tie all those things together. Like the clearer the business is, the clearer it is for the marketing for that business. So that has been a relief. But yeah, I mean, when we get those bad clients, man, I'll tell you, I've had some late nights where I'm just like, especially earlier on, where I was doing all this work and revising things and overworking for bad clients that weren't paying us, and it was just miserable. Like I was genuinely miserable working with a number of clients that we had.
And I mean, even going to that point, like with most client bad, quote unquote bad clients, you kind of have to oversell yourself because they don't understand the depth of work or knowledge or know-how that it would take to get XYZ done. They're just like, oh, it's just this thing. Like they can handle it all. Like if they don't match your level of seriousness within their own side of it, then it's just not going to work long term.
So run. Like literally, if these clients are not giving you the proper attention, respect, don't truly value what you do, like find an exit path and get out of there, because the freedom. I mean, that was one of the things. We had a bad client a couple of years ago where nightmare scenario for all the different reasons. One, we were doing services that we shouldn't have been doing. So we were way overextended in the kinds of things that we were offering. It wasn't our core offer. We totally just got off the path, and we ended up landing this client. And from that, the service was bad, was part of it. Execution was bad. The relationship was terrible, and we weren't treated with respect. Like, it got to the point where every time I would get a text or an email or whatever, like, I would naturally cringe. Like, I would immediately, instinctively just go like, because it was miserable. Everything about the experience was miserable. And the relief of not having that in our lives day to day was worth so much more than the money. And it's not even close. And so, like, what a relief to get those things and move it on. I understand that, like, obviously you want to make money, but man, when you can get rid of that time and dedicate it towards finding somebody else, like, you're going to take a short-term hit, but if you can stomach it, or while you're dealing with them, to start looking for that replacement at the very least, like, go do it. Because cutting those people loose is going to feel so much better. And you're just going to feel better about your life, your business. Like, it's just such a relief.
And then I know you you started that point with run. I don't even think you need to run. It's just somebody that doesn't have that level of seriousness or understanding. Like, if you just slowly let it die out, like, they're not going to follow up with you. They're just gonna like, oh yeah, there was that thing, it didn't happen, whatever. I'm on the next thing. So, like, I feel like it doesn't even matter in that case because they're not really taking it as serious as you would like it anyway. So
And that bad client, we held on to it for a long time. And that was part of it, is like, because we were grasping for the cash, they were uncaring about it to some degree. So when we heard from them, it sucked. But generally, they were totally disconnected to everything that was going on with it. And so it was just the bad relationship in, like, all the worst ways. But yeah, it fizzled slowly. So you're totally right that that's how it tends to work. And that's why, yeah, if you can just start looking for that replacement cash, go do it. So that's really the side of it as we've seen it. So here's what I want to do next. So we've got one more lesson for you, and it's really about that human element on a deeper level with your business. So that's coming up. But if you're looking for different ways with your business, like we talked about, engaged clients, well-built routines, and so you feel great about your business, your message is clear, you know who you're talking to, you're looking to get the word out in your content, and it just doesn't seem to be connecting, or you're not quite sure how to start that show to incorporate it into your business. That's what our Compass Call is for. And if you go into the show notes, it's the first thing, or it's one of the first things you will see there in the show notes. But you get a free 30-minute Compass Call. It's a chance to talk with me for 30 minutes about your business, about your content, how to move all of that forward. So you just need to go to freepodcasthelp.com, or go to the show notes and sign up for an appointment. It's that easy, and you should do it now. If you're thinking about doing it now, do it now. But let's talk a little bit about partnership, because, like, for us, it has evolved so much over the years. And in part, that's because we've had other business partners. And so the dynamic was different. And it's gotten to a point now where there are just two of us as business partners. And I mean, some of that stuff could be conversations for weeks on future days. But for now, I just want to take it back to sort of the broader point, which is take your partnership slowly. And what I mean by that is, if you've got an opportunity to bring somebody into the business, if you're talking about, hey, we should build this business together and you should get involved and we'll be business partners, or they have a business and you have a business and you're talking about working together to get things done. One, set your expectations low and take your time on putting all of it together, because we've had a lot of times over the years now where we have a conversation with somebody, it's somebody we like, it's somebody we know. The energy's good, we respect each other, and it becomes, all right, well, we should do business together. This is going to be great. What could possibly go wrong? And then we get into it, and things start to crack. If not right away, they've started to crack pretty early on. And so it just gets to this really ugly thing where we've put all this time and energy into what this partnership could be and having all these meetings about it and brainstorming all of these crazy ideas. And like it's gotten so off the rails, and the results can be catastrophic. I mean, you can talk about losing thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars. You can talk about all, hundreds of hours wasted. You can talk about all these different things that are driving you away from that goal of just building a successful business. And it's because, and I know this is a problem that I have, is just I am so deeply attached to people. I like people. I like being around people. I like, I was always active. Just like when I was younger, I was never home. I was just like always at friends' houses. And I've just kind of lived that way. And like, it's such a hard thing to resist that in business. It took me a long time of getting burned. And so like what it's become for me now, and something that you in particular, Taylor, have helped me with, because like this has been a clear fault of mine, and you've been great perspective on this, is like slowing down, starting smaller, and seeing if it's even worth that small project, because a lot of times it turns out that it's not.
Like you just started dating somebody and then you're like a month and it's like, we should move in together. It's like, yeah, let's move in together. So you just signed a lease. You're going to do all these great things. And then it takes about like 4 weeks, just like, oh, you don't like cleaning at all. Or like, oh, your personality isn't what it first was. Like a million things can go wrong and it's not going to go well. And I mean, even besides that, like, what's the worst case scenario of taking baby steps for, this massive thing that's going to change your business? Like, if it's going to be that big, then like take it slow and make sure that's something that you want to inherit.
We've seen it a lot in so many different ways, but the value of just saying, okay, we're going to make this incredibly small commitment. We're going to make sure that that small commitment is upheld by both of us and that it works. And like the pricing is good on that, and the workload is good. And like, this is really what we expect. And assuming we're all there, great. Now let's put more behind it. But I mean, yeah, it took us a long time to get there.
Way you disappoint somebody is not meeting expectations. And by not saying those expectations early, you're going to be disappointed. So, yeah, it really starts from the groundwork. And that kind of coincides with the good client, bad client. Like that pilot stage, that's really a testing ground. It's like, is this going to be a good thing forward, or is this not ideal? And we cut it off at the pilot anyway. So it's a really, good way to weave out the good and bad partners, clients, etc.
So think about all of those things. Again, like we shared all of this today just because it's important information. People aren't always willing to talk about these kinds of things, and it's life-changing. I mean, when you get good advice on certain things that can save you this kind of like time commitment, frustration, whatever, money, like it's life-changing. So we hope that these things are beneficial to you, and if there's ways that these can be helpful to you, like go incorporate them. If you have questions about it, feel free to reach out. Like I'm happy to talk to you. But that's what this is all about. So we're here to help. We hope this has been helpful. And if you've made it this far, all we'd ask at this point, give us a 5-star rating. It's just how these things go. Lets us know that you've listened all the way through. So we'd really appreciate if you did that wherever you're listening, Apple, Spotify, any major podcast platform. So with that, I'm Vince Quinn. That's Taylor Cradatis. We'll talk to you soon.